Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Canicorn Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Ozenbach, and this is my partner, Dylan Miller. We thank you for tuning in to our latest episode, and we hope that you enjoy the content. As always, feel free to leave us suggestions on any of our media pages, our comment sections, direct messages. Keep the Instagram stories rolling. And Dylan, do you want to introduce our topic for today?
Yeah, so similar to last episode, we have a infield tandem that we are going to go through and kind of rank the top guys at shortstop and second base. We're going to change it up from last episode. After some discussion, we felt it got a little clunky, so we're kind of really just going to hit on in order the guys at the positions that we agreed on, and then kind of just touch base on who we had differently in the top five and honorable mentions, just to kind of highlight all those players that are a little bit debatable ranking wise, but all deserve to be in the conversation.
Yepers. I guess I will take away second baseman then. Actually, never mind. You take away second baseman because you
Yeah.
have the first highlight.
So Chris and I both ranked Mookie Betts as the top second baseman going into the 2024 season. Uh, Guy is just a monster. Last year with the Dodgers, he played primarily right field, but he did play shortstop and a little bit of second base. Last year, he hit 39 home runs, which is a career high for him. Mookie Betts was always kind of a high batting average hitter, and he would hit a lot of doubles, but wouldn't put up homer numbers like that. But here, as he's kind of progressing into his older years, going to be 31 this season, he's finding a little bit more of that power. And I think that really combined with his amazing defensive capabilities is clear cut why he is the number one second baseman going into this season.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, he's an MVP candidate at the start of the season. Like he's just a dog. So I think that's kind of undisputed too, to be honest. There's a big fall off. Not that Marcus Semien, who is our second guy, is a bad second baseman, but there is a pretty drastic, at least batting fall off between Mookie Betts and the number two.
Yeah, it's just Mookie, he does bat to ball so well in addition to finding that power more so now that he's a little bit further into his career. It just he's a perennial MVP candidate, and you know moving him to second base really bumps down everyone in terms of the second base rankings, but he's just way too good of a player to not be recognized unanimously as the best second baseman.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said he hit 39 home runs last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with second baseman pop off the bat, 39 home runs is absolutely ridiculous. Like second basemen are not known for their power as far as the bat goes. They're known for their contact and their speed, but for someone to have the contact, the speed, and the power is absolutely unheard of. And Mookie has that.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to take it away with our number two guy?
Yeah, so as I just said a little while ago, Marcus Semien is our unanimously rated number two guy. He had a 276 batting average in 2023, which is about 30 points above his career average. And he had an OBP of 348, which is about 20 points above his career average. So he had a good year, first of all. He also plays shortstop and third base every now and again. He's a rotational piece. I don't know if they're still doing that with him, but in his career, he has done all three. An excellent defender, plus defender for sure. 7.4 WAR last year. I just think he's better than the next guy, basically.
Yeah, I agree.
Nothing too crazy to talk about. I feel like it's not like he's putting up crazy numbers batting per se, but
Yeah, it's just more so the consistency. You know what you're going to get every day when you pencil him in the lineup, and
yep.
he is going to play every day. He played all 162 in the regular season. Yeah, Marcus Semien also played every game for the Rangers in the postseason, so he quite literally was a piece in that lineup every single day that the Rangers took the field.
Alrighty, Dylan, you want to go into Altuve?
Yeah, so I had Jose Altuve ranked number 3, and I just think we've seen everything from him for so long. Got a little scared 2020 and 2021 when that productivity kind of took a steep nosedive. But last season in 23 and even the season prior in 22, he picked up right where he left off before that real bad streak. Altuve in his age 33 season hit 17 home runs, 51 RBIs, and he had 14 stolen bases despite only playing 90 games this season. He missed a large majority of the season, and I think to still put up numbers like that just shows that he's a force to be reckoned with in this Astros lineup. He's kind of the cornerstone guy in that clubhouse, and I think he's going to put up some scary numbers for a few more years to come.
Yeah, I think that he's a great player. Even before we reorganized, I try to go with people that aren't on Dylan's list as far as honorable mentions go, and I didn't have Jose Altuve on my list. And you might be thinking, Chris, the guy is a multi-time World Series champion. He's an excellent second baseman. Why isn't he on your list? And the answer is because I'm a hater, and I don't like him, and I think his face looks stupid, and that's legitimately the only reason why. He's really good.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You wanna head into our next guy?
yeah, so I have Hassan Kim from the Padres. He slashed 260, 351, and 398. So not a whole lot of power. Still got on base a whole lot, but also not a lot of hits. But he was in the Gold Glove conversation, which is what made me put him up that high. I think he had a bit of an off year at the plate, but I think he saw a lot of improvement with the glove and plate discipline. He saw a lot better plate discipline. That's the word I was looking for this season. So I think he'll continue on that trend. He's not as old as everyone thinks he is. For some reason, he gets this like veteran rap, and he's been in the league a while, but he's not. I think he's 28.
Yeah, I believe so.
So, he's still a young guy by baseball standards. I think
Yeah,
he'll continue to improve.
I am also very high on Ha-Seong Kim. I had him ranked at number 4, just below Altuve. As you mentioned, Kim is a superb defender. I think him and one other guy a little bit lower on this list are definitively the top 2 defensive second baseman in the league. He won the Gold Glove, was in consideration for the Platinum Glove. So the glove is sick. He plays shortstop and third base as needed. So really huge utility guy wherever it's needed. And as you mentioned, I really liked that the plate discipline saw an uptick this year.
Yeah, he almost has 100 points better on base percentage than he does batting average, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. So I love that from him.
I guess if we go down the list, we hit my number 4, who wasn't on your list at all. I was a little surprised by that. Luis Arraez. Slash line is 354, 393, 469 with 10 home runs. Now he's a contact guy. He's not a power hitter by any means as far as home runs, but he does get a lot of extra base hits, doubles and whatnot. And man, he just hits the ball. He's just like 354. That's insane. That's absolutely absurd. I cannot. I mean, who else does that? Freddie Freeman sometimes. Like.
Yeah. My only real gripe on Arias, well, I guess I have 2 gripes. One, he is a terrible defender at second base.
Yes.
Really horrendous out there, and he doesn't really have that speed to kind of help make up for it with a little bit of extra range.
I do want to add, wasn't he injured last year though?
I don't think so. I thought he played a majority of the season.
I thought he had a bum ankle.
Maybe he was playing through it.
Yeah, I just what I thought. That might have just been end of the season, but I was pretty sure.
Yeah, you couple that with, everyone praises, and it should be praised, a 354 batting average. I really, and it's tough to pick on with an on-base percentage standpoint, but he's only got like 40 points separating his batting average and on-base percentage.
Yeah, I just think that when you're hitting at that high of an average, it's hard to get a higher OBP. Like, how are you going to get on base more than 400? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, he does a lot of first pitch swinging, which 35% of the time results in a hit.
Right, which is hard to argue with that. But
I just think if he could, work counts a little bit more, maybe draw some more walks and still keep that good bat to ball, I think that would definitely make up for his lack of defense. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and he definitely lacks power, but I don't know. I just thought that slash line was so insane that I put him up there.
yeah, it's something definitely to consider. Right. So our next cat, we both had him rated fifth, is Ozzy Albies of the Atlanta Braves. Kind of pained me to put him this high. Much like Chris with Altuve, I am an Ozzy Albies hater. Switch hitting second baseman, real young, only 27 this year. He hit 33 bombs last year, which at the second base position is incredible. I know we talked about Mookie with 39, but anytime you see a second baseman getting into those 30s, you got some serious power threat. Hit 280 with a 336 on base and slugged 513. Uh, Really, only thing that I have against Albies is I mentioned he's a switch hitter. I don't think he should be a switch hitter.
See,
I
and I
think,
don't know his lines from either side, but if they're drastically different, then I would agree with you.
yes, he is much better batting right-handed than he is left-handed. I think he should just stick to staying right-handed, but
Well, and what I don't understand, I don't know about you, but as a right-handed hitter, I didn't feel like there was any advantage or disadvantage to facing a righty. Like you grow up facing righties your whole life.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I can't like now I get the lefty thing. Like it's weird for a lefty to face a lefty because how many times does that happen?
yeah,
But the righty on righty I just don't quite get because and I don't know the statistics back it up and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I always felt more uncomfortable facing a left-handed hitter, even though I quote unquote had or a left-handed batter, even though I had a quote unquote advantage.
yeah. No, I agree. I just, I don't know. I think he's set in his ways to switch it, but
Yeah, adds to the resume, I guess. Alrighty. You're gonna have to help me with the name on this one.
uh,
Gleb Gleyber
Glaber,
Torres.
Glaber Torres for the
Glaber. All
Yankees.
right. So I had him on my list, just based off of pure stats, to be honest. And I think that he was sort of a not talked about guy too much on the Yankees. Young guy, still has a lot of room to improve, but also doesn't have to do a lot more to be one of the best in the league. Um, I don't remember his lines off the top of my head, but I know that they were good. And I think it's hard to get credit when you're on a team with Judge and when you're now with Soto to be like a top hitter or something like that. But as far as second baseman numbers go, I think he was ranked like number 6 or 7th in the league last year.
Yeah, Glaber's always had an insane bat. In the past, he was a bit streaky during the season. This season was definitely an outlier. He 100% was kind of that guy all throughout the year, as well as having uh, taken some steps forward defensively. He used to be terrible defender, and now he's fine. Still not great, but he's probably about an average defender. And he does have some capability to play shortstop in a dire need, but I think second base is really his home.
Yeah, and I think with a guy like that, you don't want to get him too freaked out moving back and forth position to position. I know I hated changing position like mid game or mid season or something like that. It was just kind of uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
over to your
Any,
side.
yeah. So with Glaber and these people after, these are all honorable mentions. We had all of them outside of our top five. So these are some people that have room to grow and maybe in the upcoming years could be in that top five conversation. So I have Nolan Gorman of the Cardinals. This guy was a highly touted prospect until he broke camp last year and played the full season, just about the full season, 120 games. But in those 120 games, he had 27 home runs and almost slugged 500.
That's pretty crazy. Holy cow.
Uh, Batted only 236, but when you're hitting 27 bombs,
Yeah,
it's like,
that's fair enough.
and his on base was 328, so he had an over 100 point difference in his batting average and on base. So I really liked that.
Hmm.
And he's a guy that will be able to play second, third, and first base. I know the Cardinals have, some walk down guys in the corner, but
Yeah.
if one of them needs an off day, he's more than capable to go in and take over.
Well, and it's cool because he's not by any means traditional second baseman at the plate or just in his build or anything. Like he is a third baseman through and through, but he just has the ability to play that middle infield, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I believe coming up through the minors, he was a third baseman, but when Arenado's there, you kind of get log jammed. So it's either adapt or
You're
sit
not
in
going to
that
win that.
limbo.
You're not going to win that one.
Yeah, but the guy's 6'1", 210. So like you said, his build is crazy.
Yeah. So my next honorable mention, this is probably the guy that I'm the highest on right now, is Andres Gimenez. Now, listen. Gold Glove winner for the American League, Platinum Glove winner. He's at the league average for his batting average, and he hit 251, which isn't great, but his on base percentage was 314, which is acceptable, and he was slugging 399. He's a new guy, like he's not old by any means. I think he makes an offensive leap, and I think that his status as a fielder carries him up. I love guys that are really good at fielding, so it made me excited.
Yeah, I can see why you're high on him from that point. I just feel like he had his breakout season in 22. He was a lot better with the bat than he was this prior season, and I'm kind of scared that we're not going to get to see that high-end offense mixed with that stellar defense that you mentioned.
Yeah.
He's also really fast. I don't know how many bags he swiped.
I'm not sure. I don't have it written down.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was like a 20-plus stealer.
And I don't know about his arm strength, but with his glove, I wouldn't hate a movement to shortstop from him.
Yeah.
Just more ground to cover, more balls hit your way, a higher opportunity for more success, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the Guardians' plan for shortstop is, but that wouldn't surprise me to see him make that move.
Yeah. Down to my boy.
Yeah. So I got Bryson Stott. I mentioned before that Ha-Sung Kim and one other guy on this list were like top two step above everyone else defensively, and I think that is Bryson Stott. Was in Gold Glove contention this past year, and I think if he would have been in the American League competing with those guys, he would have won hands down. But got to give props to Kim.
Yeah, and he can hit. I mean, he has not the power, but the slash line similar to guys like Albies and stuff like that. He makes good contact. He has good plate discipline. He just doesn't quite have the bombs to match up with it. And now that he's a dad, that's going to come. Dad strength is going to take
dad strength.
Yep.
But, I mean, he hit 280 with a 330 on base. So from a young guy, he's only going into his 26-year-old season, third season in the bigs. So
yeah, and in case anyone doesn't remember, Albies hit 280 with a 336 on base percentage. Yeah. So it actually is basically identical.
Yeah, you just got to hope that power ticks up a little bit more. And I really like that he stole a lot of bags this year. He stole 31, which kind of sneaky. I mean, I know he's fast, but I don't know. I felt like I didn't see him stealing a whole lot watching these Phillies games. So to kind of see that pop out.
They don't talk about his speed.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes him so much of a good defender, because that speed really plays in. He has a lot of range and makes a lot of those plays that some other guys can't.
Yeah, he covers ground. And, man, I hope he gets power, because even if he hits 25 home runs or 30, if he gets close to 30, oh my gosh, that's a game changer for him. And he is fast. And I think it's because we hear about, JT is ridiculously fast for his position. And, Brandon Marsh can fly. Rojas can fly. So a guy like Stott, who plays a position for fast people, but is also just as fast as those other guys, with exception to some of the outfield. He just doesn't get that, man, this guy's quick. He can steal back. He can score from first on a double. But definitely, I think he could easily be in the top 5. at the end of the season.
Yeah, I agree.
And so this next one I have, Nico Horner. Am I saying that right?
Yep, Nico Horner.
NL Gold Glove honors. And what really sold me on him was he had the 8th best K rate in all of MLB.
Yeah, dude does not strike out.
So that's pretty awesome. And he has great plate discipline, 346 on base percentage, 383 batting average. So slightly better in those two statistics than Albies. Just doesn't have the power. His slugging's only 383. But he's also 26 years old. So I think that power can definitely come. There's still time for him to gain that before he sort of plateaus out.
Yeah, he's a guy that also came up playing shortstop similarly to Stott, and then made the switch to second base. And I think it has helped him so much defensively. I mean, he was still a plus defender at shortstop, but
Yeah.
when you see those guys that are really good defensive shortstops go to second, you just see them play at another level.
Yep.
All right. And that brings us to our last honorable mention for the second baseman, and that is Ketel Marte of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Uh, if it wasn't for the age, I think Ketel Marte would leapfrog Albies into that 5 spot. But Marte's a little older. He's going to be 30 this year. Doesn't have quite as much speed, only stole 8 bags. His slash line is very similar to Albies. Hit 276, on base 358, slug of 485. So a little bit more in the walk department, a little bit less in the power department. And I don't think he's quite as good of a defender as Albies, but I think everything else, these two guys are very comparable.
Yeah, and with how long he has been in the league, I think he's kind of like old reliable. Like,
Yeah,
he's going to be good. You don't know if he's going to be outstanding, but he's going to be good.
yeah, and he also has the all-time postseason hit streak now.
Does he?
Yep, I forget how many games it is, but I do know that he has the all-time hit streak. He got a hit in every single playoff game this year, and I believe 3 in 2017 in the Diamondbacks' last playoff run.
Nice. Heck yeah. I guess we will now move along to our shortstop picks. This time we have the top 3 that are all the same. So we'll start with 1 and we'll go down to 3.
All right.
And I'll take us off with both of our MVP picks. Shortstop for the Rangers, Corey Seager, who in his 119 games posted a 327 batting average, a 390 on base percentage, and a 623 slugging percentage with 33 home runs. And he did this while he was injured. That's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, I quite frankly cannot wait to see what this guy does. I'm really hoping he has a full season because he's going to put up insane numbers.
And look, Francisco Lindor, who's our number 2, is a good shortstop. Hate to say it, but he's a good shortstop. He doesn't hold a candle to Corey Seager.
Now, I think the only real argument you could make is defensively and maybe speed. But
Yeah.
just Seager's offensive numbers just carry him above everyone else on this list.
Yeah,
It's
and
not even
if he
close.
stays healthy, man, if he stays healthy, I think we're gonna see something absolutely crazy this year.
I agree.
All right, moving along.
Yeah, as we mentioned, Lindor was our joint number 2. Had a 30-30 season last year, which is always really exciting to see from anyone, let alone a shortstop where shortstops aren't necessarily always hitting a whole lot of home runs. But anyways, he hit 254 with 336 on base and a 470 slug. As I mentioned, he hit 31 home runs and stole 31 bags. Played 160 games, so almost the full season for the Mets. And he's such a good shortstop, switch hitter, excellent defender. There's really nothing bad you could say about Lindor, in my opinion, at least.
People are probably listening to that and thinking, oh, 31 home runs. Corey Seager only hit 33. Corey Seager hit 33 in, 40 40 less
Yeah,
games.
yeah,
Like, dude, I'm telling you, if he's healthy for the whole season, he might put up like 45.
yeah. It's gonna be crazy. But yeah, Lindor's sick. Hate to say it because he's a Met, but
Yeah, well,
he's a really good player.
shall we move along to a more likable character?
Yeah. So the last pick that we both had the same was Bobby Witt Jr. at number 3. Man just got absolutely paid. Uh, Forget the exact dollar amount. I believe it was around 270 for 12 or 13 years. Just there's a reason they paid this guy. He's going into his age 24 season this year. He hit a league leading 11 triples last year, coupled with 30 home runs and 49 stolen bases.
He's a dog.
We Yeah, he's an electric player. Definitely someone you want in your clubhouse long term. Really glad that the Royals locked this guy up.
Yeah, I like him. I love him as a player. I like the style of baseball that he plays. I don't think he's too oriented in power, too oriented in contact. He's just kind of that healthy mixture of all of it, and I think he's good.
Yeah, I mean he hit 276 with a 319 on base and slugged almost 500. So
I just
he's
don't think
got
270 is bad as far as batting
no,
average goes.
no, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, he could use some plate discipline, I guess. If I had to
Yeah,
critique something that's worse than Corey Seager and Francisco Lindor, it would be his plate discipline. And
yeah,
I mean everything else, but like everything else is a step down from Seager. We're not going to compare anyone to Corey Seager. But
yeah.
moving along to who I had in my number 4 slot, Bo Bichette. He hit 306, 339 with a 475 slugging percentage, 20 home runs, and for the first time in his career had plus defense.
Whoa.
Yeah, so shout out to him. If that keeps going, and he can learn a little more discipline because 306 to 339 is not a great
Yeah,
differential between batting average and OBP. Then I think he'll be excellent. He's only 25 years old, and I think the older you get, the better discipline you normally attain. And I already said I was high on the Blue Jays, so I think he's going to be part of that success, and hopefully that means that he plays even better than he did last year.
yeah. I really think that outside of Corey Seager, I think Bo Bichette is probably the next best raw offensive shortstop in the game.
Yeah,
So I think his offense really carries his weight. And as you mentioned, he got a lot better defensively. I just gotta hope that that sticks for him. But
yep,
I don't have anything bad to say about Bo. It's just shortstop's a loaded position. We've got a lot of good guys right now.
yep. And I didn't even mention it, but when I say plus defense, that means he was better than the league average.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that. So everyone knows. All right, you want to sell me on the former Brave?
Yeah. So I got Dansby Swanson as my number 5. We'll talk about my number 4 pick in a second. But I got Dansby at 5. He is an elite defender. Um, he's getting acclimated to his first year as a Cub, and even as he's getting acclimated, he still hit 22 home runs in 147 games played. Only hit about 244, but his on base was 328, so he was getting his good amount of walks in and slugged 416, which is right around his career average. But I'm just hoping that after this first year of getting acclimated, his power numbers creep up into what we saw the last 2 seasons, where he hit, uh, more upper 20 home runs. So
Yeah.
I'm high on Dansby. I think he passes the eye test in all assets. He's just a baller.
Oh, he passes the eye test. All right, that's the best looking man in baseball. Hitting is all about confidence. And if I looked like Dansby Swanson, I would never lack confidence ever in my entire life.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So your number 4 and my number 5 is Trey Turner, who I had picked to be a potential MVP this year because I think it's a bounce back year for him. But given his season last year, I couldn't put him up there.
Yeah.
Slash lines are 266, 320, 459. Obviously, post All-Star break, he hit 317, 371, 629, which are very, very close to Corey Seager's numbers. So I think if he can bring back what he did at the end of last year and do it for a full season, he does have a chance to be up there in the same conversation with Corey Seager as he was most of his career.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's about all I got for him.
Yeah. One other note on Turner. I know we touched upon Bryson Stott stealing bags for the Phillies. Trey Turner was the only player last year that was consistently stealing bases to not get caught stealing. He went 30 for 30 in the stolen base department,
which is insane.
Yeah, it just shows how smart of a base runner this guy is. I mean, his slides always go viral. Yeah. He's a must-watch guy.
And people will talk about Acuna's 40-70, right? Like, oh my gosh, he stole 40 bases. That's so crazy. He also got thrown out. To not get thrown out in a season is ridiculous because with Acuna, you're fast and you're using that speed to just steal bags at any just about opportunity that you can. Trey Turner only stole bags when he knew he could do it, and he knew he could do it 30 times. I find that to be pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, especially, I mean, the Phillies are in the same division as the Braves, so he's seeing Sean Murphy behind the dish a lot, and I think Murphy is great defensively and has a cannon of an arm, and to not get thrown out by him, I think really holds a candle to how good of a base runner Trey is.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that's downplayed in today's game. I feel like people don't talk about being a good base runner as much as they used to.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a lost art.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with the pitching rules now, it'll start to come back though, with more bags being stolen and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I will go back to back here with Xander Bogaerts, who I have in my honorable mentions. Slash line of 285, 350, 440. And he improved his defense from last year, which was already an improved defense to begin with from where he was.
Yeah.
And he had 19 home runs, which isn't great. But I have in my comments that he did well despite the Padres, because the Padres last year, I don't know what happened to the Padres, but they just sucked. All of their good players were bad, except Xander Bogaerts, who somehow pulled it together and had a decent season for himself. So
yeah,
that was my case for him. I also was trying to pick guys that weren't on your list so that we could talk about different people. So
yeah, no, Bogaerts, he definitely got off to a rough start in the season, but he was getting acclimated to playing in a new stadium for the first time, and I think he came up in 2013, so he hasn't played anywhere other than Boston in 10 years.
And that's a funky stadium. It's hard to get away from that.
Yeah, so props to him. I mean, he got paid handsomely, and I think he'll live up to that contract. He just needed to get it going. I think Bogaerts is definitely deserving.
Yeah.
And I will move on to my first honorable mention of J.P. Crawford of the Seattle Mariners. J.P. Crawford led the league in walks last year with 94. Led the American League, because I forgot Juan Soto exists. So he led the National League, or the American League, in walks with 94. Hit 266 with an 380 on base, and he still slugged 438.
It's pretty good.
19 bombs, which you look at that slug, you'd think he would hit a little bit more.
Doubles.
But yeah, he did have 35 doubles. And he has, as we mentioned with Bogaerts, he has made steps up defensively. He's probably about a league average defender right now, but he used to be absolutely brutal.
Yeah, and I think if he's already improved, he can probably continue to improve. Normally that's a trend, not a linear, it doesn't just end at one point, but we would definitely see. I like J.P. Crawford. He's Billy Bean's wet dream.
Yes.
So, except he got paid, didn't he?
Yeah, 4 years something, but more than Billy Bean would have paid.
All right, so then I will take my last honorable mention, which is Matt McLain, who had a really great slash line, 290, 357, 507, despite only hitting 16 home runs. So lots of extra base hits that aren't home runs. And he was a rookie, and this was in an 89 game sample. I think 89 games is enough to get a gauge on whether or not a player is going to be able to hack it in Major League Baseball. And those numbers are pretty crazy. He had great discipline. He had a .60 difference between his batting average and his OBP. He had great power with hitting the doubles and extra base hits. You still had to hit the ball pretty far most of the time to get extra base hits. Good contact as he's hitting 290 and great speed to be able to hustle those out. So I'm pretty high on Matt McLain this year.
Yeah, as am I. I honestly didn't rank him because I didn't think he was going to be ranked as a shortstop because I know the Reds have Elly De La Cruz. I thought that McLain might be slated more as a third base or utility type guy.
That's probably possible.
But I'm really high on McLain. I liked what I saw, and he's another part of this young, exciting Reds team. And I think it's like lightning in a bottle. They're all just going to feed off of each other, and it's going to be great watch.
O-style kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. I think it's been a long time since I've said the word exciting and Reds in the same sentence.
Yeah.
All right, take us away.
Yeah, so last shortstop we will talk about today, my last honorable mention is Carlos Correa. As we mentioned before, I am high on the Twins. He had a down season this past year. Yeah, had a down year this year for the Twins. He only hit 230 with a 312 on base and a 399 slug. By far, career worst in all three of those departments. But we saw what this guy did when he was an Astro. We know what he's capable of, and I just think that the plus side outweighs the negative side, and I think we're going to see him tick back to those numbers that we saw in the days of old.
Definitely possible. I do think that he's someone who's kind of getting by in the league on name right now. I don't think he's playing up to who he was by any means. But like you said, last year was his worst year. It's not like for the last 5 years he's been horrible. It was, but I think it's definitely possible. He could definitely make a comeback, and it'd be cool to see him do it on somebody other than the Astros.
You saying that he's getting by just on name alone put this unspeakable fear in my head that he just turns into the next Javier Baez, who we did not mention today for a reason.
Yeah. He's not getting brought up.
Yeah.
Does not deserve to be brought up. So that kind of wraps up the section with our middle infield. There are some other things going on around the league now that things are ramping up that we sort of get to talk about, which is exciting. Since our last recording, the Orioles have picked up Corbin Burnes, which is great for them. We were talking about them picking up a pitcher. I wanted them to trade for Dylan Cease. The only player that they would take for Dylan Cease was Jackson Holliday, which I would not have done.
No.
So I think Corbin Burnes is a great pickup for what they had to get. Who was it, like a shortstop out of the farm system or something like that?
Yeah, they gave up a shortstop and a starter.
Yeah, so boo-hoo. I'll give up a starter for Corbin Burnes any day. Yeah. The Phillies are currently rumored to be looking at Jordan Montgomery and / Cody Bellinger. I don't think they're going to go after Bellinger. I think they have their outfield pretty much where they want it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't hate them getting him in case Rojas is horrible, but I think he was pretty all right until the playoffs last year, so not too concerned. I would like the Montgomery pickup.
Yes, I would love Jordan Montgomery. Cody Bellinger, yes, he would be a great pickup for the Phils because he's an exciting player. I just don't think we need another left-handed bat.
Yeah, that's who. I didn't even think about his left-handed bat. I just thought about we have 4 guys playing the outfield. Why are we going to get a 5th?
Yeah.
And something that I think baseball people would want to talk about or hear about is why is last year's Cy Young winner still a free agent? And I know most of the argument is that he's not consistently a Cy Young pitcher, right? Would you agree with that statement?
Yes.
He's had 2 seasons in his career where he has gone sub 3.5 ERA, I believe. 2018, where he went 189 with a .974 whip, which is probably one of the most dominant pitching seasons I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, quick note because we haven't really discussed pitchers in the past. WHIP, for those who don't know, is walks and hits per inning pitched. So, for example, if you have a WHIP of 1, that means on average you're either giving up a hit or a walk every inning that you pitch.
A whip of under 1.2 is probably considered good.
Yeah,
A whip under 1 is borderline unheard of.
yeah,
So to put that into perspective, his 2018 season was nuts. Last year when he won it, he had a 2.25 ERA and a 1.89 whip, which are still good stats. Nothing like 2018. That's insane. But what I then looked up was his career ERA and career whip. Career ERA is 3.2. That's a pretty good career ERA. And a lot of people are probably thinking it's not an elite career ERA. It's not that sub 3 or sub 3. It's not whatever. So I'm going to read off some names that are within 0.05 of that ERA for their career. Garrett Cole, Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Zach Wheeler, and Sonny Gray. Wheeler, Verlander, and Sonny Gray are all over 3.2 ERA in their career. Garrett Cole and Max Scherzer are both around 3.15. So while I get that he's had those four ERA seasons where he's been up, I still think that he's a good deal, and I don't think he's that old, is he? Like you could still get him for 5 to 7 years, and he's not going to be absolutely atrocious.
Yeah. So this is he's going into free agency now. This is his first free agent season. I don't have the age in front of me, but usually starting pitchers they'll go into their first free agent season under ages 30 to 32.
And he's
So he's right in
31.
that range. Yeah. So he's still a young guy. I don't know. Well, I guess I do know why he hasn't signed anywhere. At least last I heard, he had only gotten one formal offer, and it was from the Yankees. I believe it
Which,
was 6 years, 160 mil, and he wants more, and I think he deserves more.
yeah, and I mean, you can't win Cy Young. Like, you're the best. Like, you are the best for that year. I'm not saying he's the best pitcher in the league right now, but you also heard those names I read off. So that fallacy of that over his career, he isn't that, like, it's just wrong. He has been consistently a good pitcher. Has he had 2 or 3 years where he's not great? Yes. So of all of those pitchers.
Yeah.
So I think he's worth it. I think teams that emphasize pitching can't go after him because they're already paying pitchers. So like the Phillies are paying Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, and hopefully they're going to pick up Jordan Montgomery. They can't afford to bring in Blake Snell too. Same with the Braves. Like the Braves are already paying those guys to, you know what I mean? The Yankees I thought would be great. I don't know why they wouldn't pay him more. They have more money than God, and they have one good pitcher on their roster, assuming Nestor has a season like he did last time.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Through what I've heard/read, it seems like the Giants are the front runner on him, which I think he would be a great fit in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about Logan Webb as your Cy Young candidate, and I think the 1-2 punch of him and Webb is
they would be a great
something that would definitely elevate the Giants into that next tier of team. And I've also heard that the Angels are in on him. For reasons, I don't know why. They just need to tear it down. They should not be spending money on a big free agent like that, but I have heard that they are pretty keen.
Dude, why? Every night I go to bed and I wonder, why did God create the Angels? Why is that team? There's nothing angelic about that organization.
No.
It is a dumpster fire. If they pick him, if for whatever reason, first of all, I don't think he'll ever agree to sign there, no matter how much money and time they offer him. Because if there's one thing that a pitcher hates more than not being paid, it's losing.
Yeah.
Every game. And they will lose and lose and lose and lose.
Yeah, he'll just
So
be stuck in purgatory.
I guess I hope he goes to a decent team. I'd like to see him succeed. He kind of got screwed last year because if he did that on the Padres roster that we all thought we were going to get,
Oh yeah,
then they probably would have went to the World Series.
yeah,
But instead, we got like the Oakland Athletics curse took over the Padres last year or something, and it just was bad. But yeah, no, I hope he goes somewhere good. I'd love to see him on the Orioles, but I think with that Corbin Burns signing, they're not going to go after him.
yeah. I don't think the Orioles are in on him, but
Yeah, it's just like they don't have like they're not paying anybody else.
no.
Like all these guys are rookies or second-year players.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that they're kind of holding their money tight right now to pay those young guys. I'd like to see a lot of them get those pre-arbitration extensions like we saw Witt got.
Yeah,
Maybe not quite the duration so that they
yeah.
can keep more guys, but
I would like to see them keep him as well, but I also think that's an organization that hasn't made a legitimate run for how long until last year.
yeah, that's
And
true.
last year was like an accidental run. Like they didn't know that was going to happen until
Yeah.
before, like right before that season. So
Yeah, they were a year early.
yeah, but somebody signed Blake Snell that isn't the A's or the Angels
Yeah.
or the White Sox. They won't, but I'm going to throw their name out there because they suck too.
Or the Rockies.
Or the Rockies.
Yeah.
You want to? If I was a pitcher, I wouldn't sign with the Rockies either. I don't want 800 million home runs hit off me every season.
No. All right.
That is all I have for them.
Yeah, so that does it for this episode of Can of Corn. As Chris mentioned in the beginning, please keep sharing our content. If you're enjoying it and have some friends, coworkers, or maybe some guy you meet on the street that you think would enjoy listening to it, give them the link, pass it along. We appreciate all of our viewers. Any comments, feedback, questions, always welcome. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Hey, Burrs, blow up that Instagram. The more you guys comment, the more it gets out there. See y'all next week.